then let's get into Fast 10. So anyway, so let me start this. Blah blah blah. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Andreas Pop Culture Talk. Chris and I are back again for another spectacular podcast. Today we're discussing Fast 10 or Fast X, whatever you want to call this 10th or 11th movie of the long-running franchise of the Fast and Furious. Chris, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing? I had a good time, seeing Fast X with you.
Yes.
There was a lot of times where I did like shake my head, but I still had a good time watching the movie.
Yes. Yes. Well, actually, let's get into that. So, this is the 11th movie. I guess,
Oh,
or yeah, or 10th. Yeah. Well. We have to include Hobbs and Shaw. I mean, that was technically the ninth movie after Fate of the Furious, and then this is like it was before F9 in this movie. But overall, what's your opinion on the film? Do you like it? Was it better than F9, the Furious movie we saw like 2 years ago? Actually,
yeah, it was funny. It was, actually this Spirit Fast 10 was the funniest one I've ever seen because Jason Momoa was so funny as a villain.
hmm yeah,
And you almost forgot that he's very sadistic and obviously driven by revenge and just wants to punish the world. But
yeah,
he was just he was just so comical throughout the film. I mean, even when he took a beating, he still kept his comedic vibe. He didn't like flinch, and he was still your typical antagonist.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
And
Uh,
but what I shook my head at was just, of course, the action and the stunts, but all those accidents that no human being could survive, they somehow survived. I was like, oh my, come on now.
yeah. Well, I think that would be a good time to discuss that. I This movie has probably the worst CGI slash green screen integration of any of the Fast Furious movies.
Hmm.
Like, the Furious one, it was all good. I just felt like this and F9 had probably the worst integration of the CGI and green screen. Like, you could tell like it was like a studio or something like that. And I mean, especially this movie it had like a lot of major reshoots, and it's one of the most expensive movie. It's so I feel like you know they didn't properly integrate the live action stuff with the CGI slash green screen. So I that's one of the big problems with this movie. And so like the action, I mean the actions has been amp up since Fast Five. So, but yeah, I've my opinion is just it's the CGI and the green screen has gotten worse in this film, which is sad. So
Yeah, and it's just what really got to me was the bomb. It wasn't armed it wasn't armed at one point, but for
yeah,
it to roll and roll and roll and hit a couple gas tanks, it was into flames and it still didn't explode. It's like,
yeah, yeah, like
or
even rolling down like the trigger can be damaged and it's not gonna be operated right.
yeah, or at least explode, but
Yeah.
uh, or no, when Dominic some or when no no when Dominic uh during that shootout scene,
Hmm.
he turned on he managed to turn on a completely damaged car, lift it with one arm. It was like, so I mean, you have to be incredibly strong to be able to not say that Vin Diesel's not strong, but like he's not like bodybuilder or Mark Henry WWE size,
Hmm.
so no way he could have lifted that car with just one arm like that. Or when he somehow took down two helicopters.
Oh my god, the helicopters. Yeah, well, I mean, I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to take the leap of logic for these movies. I mean,
Yeah, you have to defy gravity in these movies to defy logic.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't as bad as last movie with
No,
him.
no.
Like, you remember in F9 where like he had to stop a bunch of Jacob's goons in one of their hideouts, and like he pulled these chains out of the walls, and like they're all collapsed into the water. Do you remember
Right.
that scene? Like
Yeah,
that
I
was
remember that scene.
yeah. So like, how the heck that like how strong is Vin Diesel? Dominic Toretto to pull that off. Like, yeah, this is very crazy. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. What other crazy thing that this movie did besides the helicopters? The what do you call it? The water well. What do you call it? The dam, the water dam, right?
Hmm.
Like, no way a car can survive from that big jump with that explosion. And like he had to
Right,
use
exactly.
was it pestle to boost the car out of fire. Like that was crazy. So I mean,
Hmm. The
but
car
yeah,
would have blown up.
yeah. Well, so you brought up the helicopter. I guess well, talking about action scenes. I mean, since Fast Five, we have actually pretty good action scenes, and I think the best one is the Rome sequence. I thought that was very creative. I like the
Yeah,
idea of
yeah.
yeah the rolling bull. I felt that's the highlight of the film because with the other action scenes, it was just like car chase and explosions. Which was okay. But I really appreciate the Rome sequence because that was more creative, in line with what Fast and the Furious done. With the Volt, the airplane slash tank scene, or the Dubai sequence in Furious 7, or the submarine slash the zombie cars and Fate of the Furious, and the F9 with the magnet stuff.
Well,
You
well,
know.
here's where you give credit to this Fast and Furious series. Like, there's no origin with this series. Like, it's not like from a TV series or from a comic book
Hmm.
or from a magazine or anything like that. It's purely film, and for it, to make it to 10 movies, I don't think that has been done, in
No,
cinematic history. So,
no,
like,
no. It's few. I mean, Bond is Bond, the some of the horror films, and then just Godzilla are like the exception, where
mhm.
we got multiple films. Yeah, like this one is like a rare exception, or like MCU. If you want to rub that in, it's like the MCU is like the latest of having multiple films.
Yeah, but
So
like with MCU, we already knew, who these characters were, and so of course we were going to be familiar with them, and just their amazing storytelling and character development throughout the years has definitely contributed to this success. And but
yeah,
Fast 10 has done, but this Fast and Furious series, it's done it on its own. Like, there's no like previous adaptations
mhm.
uh to it. These character, they rose from the ground up with, the 2001 the Fast and the Furious. And it just started out, guys, with street racing, but now it's like basically saving the world from terrorists.
Yeah. I mean, just villains in general. But yeah, so you brought up the terrorist part, and Dante. Did you think Dante is the best villain we had overall with the Fast and Furious films? So,
Absolutely.
all right, that's very good because I
But
am the same.
for him to show a sadistic side while having humor to him, I mean, there's no better villain than that.
Mm,
And obviously, of course, he was driven by revenge because his father was killed.
yeah,
But he was after. He's worse than his father. You can say that.
Yes, that's very true.
And he
Speaking
was
of,
always one step ahead. He was always one step ahead of Dom and the family.
well, yes, he planned this out. He studied them apparently.
Yeah, you can never because like yeah, you always have to have a plan when you want to get things done.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I agree. Jason Momoa was really great choice here. I think the first opening sequence of him, when he was trying to get the tech stuff from Cyber, or asking Cyber to join him, was a very good impression. And I think Rome was where I really liked the character when he started to, do these really ridiculous, over the top stuff. Of course, when he was talking to his minions, the nerds, he calls them.
Yeah,
Of course, when he said like, "Oh, what are you gonna do today? Oh, gonna blow up the Vatican. Oh, that's great. Oh, you gotta go to hell." And
right.
that's
Yeah,
so ridiculous.
and right. And as we talked about, I'm not. I maybe I'm not sure if it's the director's intent specifically, but you can clearly notice and see the religious undertones in this film.
Yes,
The name Dante, from Dante's Inferno, and you saw how he referred to himself as the devil, and he referred to Dominic
the
as
saint.
a saint.
Yeah.
And you would notice how the camera would really take a close up shot of his cross, when he would use it, or Brie
Or
Larson's character, uh daughter nobody would use it to talk about, like, you just have to have faith. You just have to have faith. And
four
that
times
scene
they say that. Oh my god.
four times, right, as you pointed out.
Oh my god.
And Elena's younger sister, when she had said that her older sister was still helping people, as if she's in heaven and stuff, guiding them. And
Oh
Dominic,
yes.
Dominic is clearly, he's like he's portrayed as like the Christ-like figure in
Yeah.
in the family. And considering all the films he's done, all these, look how he went from being a street racer, now he saves the world from terrorists. And even when he gets into like accidents or fights, he remains untouched. He's invincible, even when he takes a few beatings.
Yes, very true. Speaking of the cross, like we also see cross imageries. Of course, the statue from Real is literally like a cross symbol, and or Dante, when before the bomb, explodes in the water. You see him doing the cross, like,
Hmm.
pose, if you want to call it. And I think, and then he brought the cross necklace that Dom has, but we also see with Jacob, before he sort of dies in his car, like you see him wearing that as well.
Right.
So, but
Sacrifice.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, this.
And
Uh, oh no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And do you remember when Dom said, "When Rome falls, so does the world"?
Oh God, yes, I do remember that. I didn't put that two together.
Yeah, that's actually a real quote. And I don't know if it was, Diesel's idea or the director's ideal, but it was from an English monk named Saint Venerable Bede. And the quote says, "Rome will exist as long as the Colosseum does. When the
Huh.
Colosseum falls, so will Rome. When Rome falls, so will the world." So there was so you can see how Rome has a very big presence, and I think religion in this particular film. And it was Dominic that was the one that said that. And as I said, he's portrayed as the Christ-like figure. So the director really spilled a lot of religious undertones in this movie.
Yes. I don't know intentionally or not, but yeah, they really hammer on the religion stuff in this movie, which is intriguing, I gotta say. But I mean, it's always been there with the Fast and Furious movies, but it was always subtle. But this movie just went full on, just religion slash the Christianity of like imagery and or slash symbolic meanings to it. So I'm very surprised they did that. Um, but I don't know, like that's I mean, with the kind of movie that Fast and Furious is, I'm kind of it's sort of funny to see that they're attempting to do this in this movie.
Yeah, and
But
think about it. After that whole bombing thing, they were all marked as like, the family was all marked as terrorists, and Dominic, he was
mm,
number one as the most wanted man.
yeah, oh my god,
So
just like Jesus Christ, but like
yeah,
he was like
because like not only that, you know, ob- the bomb explosion happened at Rome.
yeah
It involved the Vatican. The building of the Roman Catholic Church. So you do something in Rome, or anyone, or the Roman Church or the Pope. Yeah, best believe the world will come
yeah
after you.
yeah, that's that's very true, and I think that's one of the reasons I like the Rome sequence. I guess we could talk a lot about the religion slash Christianity symbols slash metaphors that we display, but we can. I think this will be a good time to move on to the characters. Discuss that. And let's get into the man himself, Vin Diesel, aka Dominic Toretto. Um, I mean, Ben, he's not the strongest actor. I mean, when he's used well as the actor, he can deliver a good performance. And after 10 movies, I mean, 9 movies, this 10th movie, it's okay. I mean, I am not, I think his ego has gone over his roof. I mean, just I don't know. But I think here, Dom is okay here, but I still miss Paul Walker. I think one of the issues with Dom here, and this is something is a nitpick here, is that I don't like that we separate Dom with the crew again, and it's like there has to be someone with Van, with Dominic. I just feel like because the whole I mean I'm yeah. So I feel like you know um I feel like that separating him from the crew it's just not good because I have to be honest. I think the crew doesn't get much to do, and with Dominic being the lead, I mean I'm not bored with the storyline, but I, it's not as engaging as they think it is, and that's my issue with the character of Dominic Toretto. But what's your opinion on Dominic Toretto and the whole thing?
Um,
As
well,
Ken,
the consistent thing with Dom is his loyalty to his family, and
yeah,
I think everything he does, it's not for himself, it's for his family, and you see the situations that he puts himself through, and you saw that again. You've seen that in all the Fast and Furious movies, but especially with this one in Fast 10. And he made it clear that I don't care what happens to me, I just care about protecting the people I love. And you see how much of a good father figure that he has been. I mean, he already taught his son how to drive, and he's still a child.
yeah.
And
By the way,
so I
that's
just
funny.
think
He did that with his kid.
so I think that the series has been consistent with Dom's character and his character arc. And the other characters, I think they're coming into their own too, because we already I mean, we already knew that they were smart themselves and had gifts of their own before they even met Dominic.
Yeah. Uh, true. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Consistent is the word for this franchise. I mean, like, Roman Tech is different from what they first appeared in Too Fast, Too Furious. But yeah, they've been consistent since Fast Five, I would say. With the whole crew and Dom as well. So, but so my question to you is like, do you like what we did with Dom in this movie? Because I mean, it's okay, but uh,
Absolutely.
okay,
I didn't expect anything less. I knew that Dom was, as I said, he's been portrayed as like, the Christ-like figure. So I expected that arc from him in Fast 10, and that's exactly what we got. And I don't think that's going to change at all. Because
mhm.
if he got a whole new different arc, it would completely contradict his character. We saw a little bit of a twist with Fast 8 where he turned, quote unquote bad, but we all knew that wasn't going to last.
Yeah, no, I mean it made sense in that movie. Um, but yeah. So, but yeah, so uh, I think yeah, Dom is pretty cool character. I guess then we're gonna get into the other characters. I mean, let's get into the new characters. Let's get into new characters. I think that those characters were introduced here. I like the new characters. I think this was a better attempt of introducing new characters in this franchise. I thought that Ames was a really good addition. Tesh and Tesh, Mr. Nobody's daughter, played by Brie Larson. I thought that the Isabel character, that is Elena's sister, was a really good addition. So I thought the new addition was really good. I just wish they had more time and screen time. Uh, yeah, I thought they were really funny as well. So they fit well with this franchise. We just thought about the new characters in Fast 10.
I liked Ames, and honestly it was a nice twist to see that he been working with them. I saw the second in that first scene when we were introduced to Dante Reyes, and I was like, wow, he was right there sitting in that office uh waiting for the for the father. It turns
Yeah,
out, the actor is a Christian. That's the crazy part about it.
yeah, could be. I mean, his twist was so obvious, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was like,
The
I
second time
mean,
for me, yeah, now it was obvious. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of obvious that something was going on. I mean, because he was so like gun ho to chasing of our characters, our heroes. So it made sense that he was going to be the villain. But he did have one of my favorite lines about he hates barbecue, and like he brought up that they're like a cult but with cars.
That was a
So
good line. I like that line. That was a good line.
yeah, so I think that Ames was a good addition to that. Yeah, and I like the idea they brought up that not everyone's gonna join Dom's family. Like previously. So I actually like that, like kind of twist that okay, not everyone is gonna be good or join with Dom. So that was like a good change of pace with the Fast and Furious, with the characters. So, but man, he's very Jack as the actor that plays Ames. So
Oh,
I think he was
absolutely. Oh
really good,
yeah.
Bill.
Oh yeah.
So, oh, and a bit, and then a trivia for this. This is actually kind of funny because Jesse Momoa and Alan Richardson, right? So the actor that plays the new Jack Reacher, Uh, Both of them played Aquaman. So obviously, Jason Momoa plays Aquaman in the DCEU. Alan, the actor that plays Ames, actually played Aquaman in the Smallville TV show. I forgot about this. Of course,
Oh wow, I
he,
didn't know that.
yes. So, of course, he's
He's built
first up.
perfect for it.
Yes. So, but yeah, but at the before he joined Jack Reacher, he was in Titans. He played the character Dove, I think. So Hawk and Dove were in that show, and so he played Dove. And yeah, so but his first major role he had was the Aquaman in Smallville. He was there in a couple of the seasons. So and he was pretty good as Aquaman. So it's kind of funny that the villains here are Aquaman actors. I don't know. That's very funny to just think about that. But yeah, and speaking of superheroes, you got Captain Marvel as Brie Larson playing Tesh. I actually like Brie Larson here. I haven't been impressed with her Captain Marvel performance. It's not really her fault. I just think the writing for her character in the MCU has not been great. So, but here I think she was really fun, really great. But I was surprised how little she's in this movie, and I wish we had more to do with her. But anyway, I think she was really good in this series, and she had good chemistry with
Me
Dom.
too. But I mean, I wasn't expecting her to have a lot of screen time.
Yeah, but I I think that's a criticism really, because if you have a character like Tesh, who is the daughter of Mister Nobody, you want to spend more time with her. But I get it. There's like so much in this movie, so I don't know. So it's a little difficult
Yeah,
for me.
I mean, I think she survived, but technically we don't even know if she's alive or dead because we don't
Oh,
know if
oh no, she survived. It was just a rumor. Isabel was going to take her in the hospital. So
right, right.
yeah, so
But like we
she's
don't
fine.
see her on. But after that screen, we don't see her on screen again. So that's
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean makes sense. I mean we're gonna probably see those two again in the sequel. So
yeah, exactly, exactly.
yeah, yeah. So
But I love
um
Danielle Melanor or Melcher. I don't know how you say her last name.
yeah, who plays Isabel. So see that I did not expect that we were gonna connect to Alea again. And the major character from Fast Five, she popped up
Yep,
in a couple of the movies until Fate of the Furious. Unfortunately, she got killed by
yeah,
Cypher. So
yep.
I actually like her, as you saying that she was really great, and I mean she was great. Little that we saw her, I thought she was a great addition, and yeah, I mean just yeah, really great. So and hopefully she got some more to do in this movie. So
And
the
hopefully, I think in the next one she'll have a bigger role.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Same with Tesh, uh, Tease or Tesh, the little Miss Nobody daughter. But yeah, but then the new, well, not new character. We saw this character since Fate of the Furious, but little Brian, little B. I for a child actor, I thought he handled his own. I heard his scenes with John Cena were the best thing about this movie.
Yeah, it was.
Besides,
I loved the bonding moment between those two.
yes, and so that's where I think this movie was much better than F9. I feel like there was more like fun and just more, like 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 bonding things that I'm sort of missing with the Fast and Furious, and I thought this was a uh, good luck of a turn for that in Fast and Furious. I thought Lil B was great. He was funny with Jacob. I thought those two pairing was really great, and you actually buy off the death for Jacob. If we're not gonna see Jacob again, I actually like the death here, and like he was trying to save Dom's son, so it was really great.
Well, as you pointed out, we don't see Jacob's body, after his sacrifice. So, and you know how Fast and Furious has a thing of bringing back characters from the dead, even from accidents
Yes.
that realistically no humans could survive. I mean, look at what happened with Han. So,
Yes.
hey, you don't, I don't think they're gonna just kill him off like that.
Hmm.
Well, no, you never know.
Yes, that's actually very true. Thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, so it's just like the horror movies, as I was bringing up last Sunday. Like, if you don't see the body, then they're not dead. So yeah, like we didn't see Jacob's body at all. I mean, they didn't show the. I mean, you just saw the carnage of that explosion, but like you didn't see the aftermath or the body and all that. So like it's possible that he could come back in the next installment. But as you say before, Chris, I mean this franchise has brought back so many of the characters dead. Um, and yeah, I do have a problem with that because that's like you're literally destroying the stakes of the previous films. I did not like the idea of bringing Han back, and that like really destroyed the impact you had on Furious 7 and the whole arc they did from Tokyo Drift. So I did not like that. So here it's fine, and like even get into surprises. I mean, especially with Isabel, Giselle it has come back towards the end of the movie. So Gal Gadot or Godot is coming back, and that makes sense. I mean, we didn't see her body either after Fast and Six.
Yeah, I actually just checked out this article about Fast 11
Uh-huh.
from Josh Rosenberg on Esquire. He went in a little bit about the cast for Fast 11, and John Cena here is listed, so
Okay.
I think we'll see him in the next one.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, I mean,
it looks like Jacob somehow survived, I guess. Like to me, this confirms it.
okay. We'll see. I mean, they could change it, before the 11 movie gets into production. So we'll see. Because well, then also like they probably keep it secret and like how you say it, keep it secret and like make it a surprise in the final uh film, whatever, but yeah, so okay, so we discussed that. Actually, sticking with Jacob, actually, John Cena. So John Cena was introduced in F9. He was the villain in the last movie. And
Hmm.
I mean, to be honest, like him and the other guy, Cole Otto, were like really the weakest villains we had so far in the film franchise. I mean, of course, people have to sort of remember that this is before his Peacemaker role, before we saw that the Suicide Squad and the show. So I actually like his performance here this time around in this movie. I thought like it was much more fun. I liked that he was not overly serious like the last movie. So and yeah, and again, I really enjoy his scenes with Lil B, and I also with these scenes, we get the cameo of Paul Walker's daughter. I want to bring that up, and that was really cool cameo. I actually like the way they set it up. So, yeah. So, what do you think about Jacob and as the character here in this movie? I thought it was much better than last movie.
Oh yeah, just the villain arc and the villain story was superb compared to the last one. But the good one about F9 though was that you had this brother who was tired of living in Dominic's shadow, and he
Hmm.
was and remember he said a really fascinating line that my whole life I've been living under your shadow, and now you're gonna see what it's like to live under mine. And that was a good story. It was, brother versus brother, and family disputes happen. But I'm glad they were able to reconcile at the end and become allies and become brothers again.
Yeah. I can see that. I liked it more here than the last one because the thing is, I don't believe the whole John Cena is the brother of Vin Diesel's Dom. That's the thing. It's so funny. It's just
Hmm.
like I don't know. Like I completely disagree with what you say. I mean, just I get what they were trying to do in F9 and all that, but it was just so like been there done that for the Fast and Furious in terms of the villain. It's like, okay, he's another villain that's going to turn good. It wasn't as compelling as Shaw, Jason Statham's character. Like there, it made sense for him to like, not like he hasn't turned good. He's still, an anti-hero. So that's the terminology for him. But I don't know. But I feel like that the themes you brought up, Chris, about what's the word? Recasano with family and
Reconcile, yeah.
yeah, like I felt that was much better in this movie. Uh, with Jacob protecting little B and all that. So I thought it was much better here, and because it didn't take itself way too serious. That's the major problem I had that with
Hmm.
F9. So so, but that's the good thing. But yeah, so yeah, what else that we should bring up? Uh, I guess trying to find out what we should go. Okay, you know what? I think we should maybe discuss nitpicks and negatives about the film. So, yeah, nitpicks and negatives about this film. So I will start here. I brought up the separation of the team, and I gotta say I think. Hmm? Sorry, you're sort of.
I was just talking to my dad. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so okay. Well, let me start this first. So again, separating the team from Dom is not a big no, and I thought that from Letty and from the crew, Roman, Tesh, and Ramsey and Han, they didn't get much to do. Like their storylines were okay, but they felt very half baked storylines, and like especially Letty. Like Letty, this is like the least Letty stuff we've gotten since what Fast and the Furious 4 back in 2009, uh, when we killed her off. So I felt like I I was very shocked because I like Lady as a character, and I thought that I liked the pairing of her and Cypher, but I felt like that was I wish we got more of Lady here. And then with the crew, I felt like they were just there for a lot of the humor, which is fine, but they didn't get much to do. And this is where I didn't like about the uh the Roman storyline of him becoming a leader, or like the leadership like wasn't taking itself too serious, and I wish they did because it had a lot of potential to grow Roman as a character. But despite I think the jokes with Roman still lands, but I feel like the idea of Roman as the leader was didn't really work for me. I think in this movie, so I thought that I they should have maybe not do it or not, And same thing with the other characters the turn, like James Sting, like Shaw, like he's barely in the film, like despite he's in the marketing, like he's just in a cameo. It's like it's just a tie-in to the post-credit scene from F9. So I like that, but it's just like okay, you should have been here. I don't think you should have been in this movie. Like you should have probably saved next movie or something like that. So yeah, a lot of mixed bags on the other characters. I think this out of all the Fast and Furious movies, post Paul Walker, I think this was the least of the crew has gotten in the films, and I felt like their storylines were very half baked with that. But what's your opinion on the characters from Letty and the major crew and their screen time and their storylines, Chris?
Oh, sorry, my mic
Yeah,
was off. I am
just kidding.
with you that Roman's leadership role should have been taken more seriously.
Yeah,
It's been quite a while since he's been like the goofy, the funny guy in the crew.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I would have liked to see a different arc to his character. But honestly, he is the comedic relief, and with the movie like Fast and Furious, you don't want to like stay serious all the time because a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
critics anyway have been, some critics have been pretty bored with like, the action and what they call is the same old tired tropes of this film. So Roman
yeah,
gives a little bit of comedic relief with that. Um,
yeah.
and it was interesting to see how they sought to do a mission, by themselves without having Dom there. And honestly, things
Yes,
went according to plan. Things went according to plan. It was just that, they were being set up. If it
yes,
wasn't for the setup, I think they would have been fine, without him.
yeah. That's very true. And also, like, if we're gonna get a spinoff, like, I think having a spinoff with Roman, Tesh, Ramsey, and Han, like, that's actually a good spinoff idea. I thought this sequence definitely maybe proved that concept.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be nice. There's been
it
talks of an all-female Fast and Furious spinoff too.
Yes, and again, that's also possibly could be actually work because I think the idea of having Letty with Cypher like was really good despite as I mentioned it was like too like it was a little like it wasn't enough for me but like I think the pairing was actually a really good choice and I thought that there was I think that Charlize Theron and Michelle Rodriguez really had good chemistry in their scenes, and I thought they really worked. And so and it was already built history between those two. What she did in Fate of the Furious and onwards. So I think that could work with the female spin-off. So, and we have really have good, strong female characters now. And putting Tesh Miss Nobody and Isabel together, and with Ramsey and other female characters we have introduced, like it could work. And also Hobbs and Shaw, like continue that franchise with stay in and train the Walk Johnson, then yeah, you're good to expand the franchise after
As far
the
as like an all-female spinoff, I think that should happen. If it were to happen, it should happen, after, the Fast and Furious series, concludes.
Yes,
Because,
that's
they're
true.
still like they're still like, I remember, Justin Lin, he was going to continue being the director, but, he had left, I guess, over creative differences. And this new one, Louis I can't say his
Lou
last name.
Lou Leterrier, that's what you call it.
Right. He had to change the script within weeks, I think.
Yes.
So there was clearly, that's why I'm assuming that, this, what happened with Fast 10, that wasn't like the original plan.
Yeah, that's very true. I guess so. You brought up the director. So obviously, Justin Lin left because I think he really was. I don't know. You saw the video of Vin Diesel did a long time ago in his Instagram. Like he was with Justin Lin, and it was really awkward. So
Yeah,
uh,
I remember that video. He looked pretty uncomfortable.
yeah, so I don't know. I think I mean because as of after Fate of the Furious, I think Vin Diesel's ego has become
Reagan, please. 07008. Yeah, apparently there have been creative differences between the two, and I think Justin Lin apparently got to the point where, oh, this isn't worth it.
yeah,
That was
yes,
reported. I haven't heard Justin Lin or Vin Diesel himself, confirm that, but
no, it's rumors. So, which is a shame because Justin Lin helped reshape the Fast and the Furious franchise. So, but I think despite the drama that I guess this movie has, I think the new director Louis Leterrier did a good job actually in this movie. I thought he brought some personality to the film with the action scenes. I thought he handled the characters very well. So I'm excited for him to come back and do his, to start the ground up for the final chapter in his own way. And I think he's a good choice for this franchise. I think because I actually like his films. He did the first two Transporter films that started with Jason Statham, and he also did the Incredible Hulk film with Edward Norton. So but yeah, so I think he was a good like a good replacement director. I thought he did everything well for this film with the kind of pressure that this was having, you know. So
Uh,
any opinions on the director, Louis Leterrier?
yeah, I think he's done a good job, taking, charge of this franchise, and we all know he's going to direct the next one. So
Yeah,
I think that fast, this series, the rest of the series as it's concluding, will be fine in his hands.
yeah. Uh, Yeah, that's true. Oh, speaking of going back to the Aquaman thing, I forgot. James Wan directed Aquaman. He also directed Furious 7, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah,
Exactly.
so I just want to bring that up because I forgot that James Wan directed the one of the Fast Furious movies, and he directed Aquaman. Okay, so what else? Chris, take us somewhere we haven't discussed yet. Discussed um that what else? Oh, Cypher. Let's talk about Cypher. What's going on with Cypher? I like Charlize Theron as the character of Cypher. I think she's another uh best villain that the Fast and Furious did. What she did in Fate and Furious was very brutal and evil. But I personally I don't know what they're doing with this character. I don't think they know what
Yeah,
they're
me
doing.
neither.
So
One
I
moment
I
she's a villain, then she's an ally. Now she's a villain again, and it's like they need to really.
pick a
Thank you,
lane.
sir. Yeah, they need to really make it clear, like who she, who she is. I mean, we all know who she is. So I don't think
Yeah.
she'll be. I think she's still a temporary ally,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Temporary.
she's still an enemy.
Yeah, I agree. She's the one that killed the little B's mom. So
Yeah,
it's like,
she killed Elena. Yeah.
yeah. So I feel like there's no way that this franchise will just redeem Cypher's. Like, no way, no way. And I'm happy they're actually consistent with that. That Cypher is still evil, and should not be trusted. So that's good. So at least they're doing that right. Yeah, but I wish we did something with her more. But at least he has a great action scene. I actually like the was it the prologue of reintroducing her and her fighting her goons because of what
Right.
Dante did. So that was a good action scene. So and her scene with Letty fighting in the uh hospital scene in the prison was very
Yeah,
good.
that was a
So
really good fight. That was a really good fight scene. That was pretty good.
yeah, so I mean, there was like a couple of really good moments with Cipher, but it wasn't enough, and like she didn't have a major storyline in the plot, so which was very frustrating.
I mean, well,
That's
yeah, it's a lot. They have a lot of characters, so I can understand why
yeah.
some characters they didn't really focus on because if the film did, then I think the plot would have been lost, and I think one thing that people would have been criticizing is like, okay, there's too many characters and their stories are all over the place.
I I think that's true. Really, I mean, despite our positives, it's really problematic because we have way too many characters. I mean, I like the new characters. I still like the main ones, but I feel like there were things that they can easily cut out and focus more. I feel like like you don't really need Jason Statham in this film. Like it was just a tie-in to the post-credit scene that we got from F9, as I brought up with my criticisms, and yeah, like I get it, but like you could easily save Jason for another post-credit scene, just like we did with Hobbs in this film, or like save him for the next film. Like I don't know. So it's just too many characters for them to juggle, And speaking of criticism, I want to bring this up because this is something that a lot of people brought up. The way the movie ends, like I get we're getting a two-parter or like a trilogy. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I know Ben brought up a trilogy, but that's him, is not the studio. So I don't know what's going on with the final film. But I feel like the cliffhanger was very odd to end. I feel like we didn't really have a proper film here. So like Infinity War, like despite we had the blip, cliffhanger thing of everyone dissipating from existence, like you felt that the Infinity War story was completed, and that when we get to Endgame, it was like a new story that we're going to tell.
Hmm.
So I feel like Fast 10 felt half baked. Really, it felt like a half a movie, and they didn't properly conclude their endings, and that's I think very frustrating for me. And I think so far the criticism towards this film for me. What do you
Yeah,
think? Because
I mean, I don't think they were. Yeah, I don't think they were gonna wrap things up with this one because we all knew it was gonna end on a cliffhanger. And if you notice, when Letty got taken to that black ops whatever prison,
yeah,
she never saw Dom again. And now Dom
no,
and his son are stuck in that dam. So, Fast 11, Letty may think, something happened. She doesn't know what happened to Dom and her son. And they may
yeah,
make it put out angles like, oh, like, he's dead, and Letty thinks he's dead. But, we all know they're both not dead. They're just stuck in that dam. And I think they'll spend the most of that film trying to get out.
yeah, I agree. Um,
But like they'll
it,
they'll wrap things up in Fast 11, I believe. I don't think because like if they were to conclude things like Infinity War or conclude things the way you wanted it to, then what would be then there would be no story for Fast 11 because all the storylines in Fast 10 were wrapped up.
not really. Like I think no, my thing, like the stories were not finished, but you didn't have a good payoff to those storylines, and it's just the way how they ended. Like it was just weird how we cut blank on the supposed explosion of the dam, of the water that Dom and Lil B are at after they
And yeah,
jump.
I mean, how else were they supposed to close it out at this point? I remember
Yeah.
Roman and Tension, they had that airplane crash, and
See.
they're whether they
Yeah.
survived or not, that's still up in the air.
Yeah. See,
But
that's a
I
good
think
click.
they're I
Yeah.
think they're alive because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
casted for the next one. So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Agree. See, that is a good cliffhanger. But the Dom one is very odd how they edit it, edit it in the film. I don't know. I think you could have done was okay. Like you saw the bombs, right? And then I think they should have done was actually allow it to explode. You see the water coming down, and then you cut it blank, cut it blank to black, right? And I think that could have been a better cliffhanger than just like, oh, you see the explosion, and then you cut at the just the face of the face of Vin Diesel and this little kid. That's just weird. Anyway, so but yeah, because like we completed all the storylines in Infinity War, and it felt done. But when we get to Endgame, it was like we had to address certain things, like what happened after the snap, which we did. You know, we the Tony and Nebula outer space what needed to be resolved. We did it in the beginning of the movie. Um, but at the same time, they tell other new stories. The 5-year jump and all that. And I felt like here it was just we barely answered half the questions, and that's a little frustrating. It's like a TV show, basically. So yeah, so to speak that. Okay, so I guess to like wrap things up, I would say we there were a few surprises. So you brought up the Letty in the frozen Antarctica. Um, we got the big surprise of Giselle coming back. That was a big surprise. You know, I was kind of surprised to be seeing Gal Gadot coming back, which was great. Was possible. I mean, because the fact that we got Han back, it made sense to bring her back. But I didn't know if they were going to do it or not, and so I was very surprised. Um, what do you think about Giselle coming back first? Good, bad? What do you think?
I thought it was pretty interesting.
Okay.
Did not expect that at all, so it was definitely a nice surprise. So we'll see what her role is going forward.
Yeah, yeah, I'm curious, and I'm probably bring a good happy ending for Han, and like they actually could be together and go to Tokyo together. So that's kind of cool. So that's really good. And then also, we I think this is the first time. No, this is like the third time they done this post credit scene. Well, the fifth time because they did it with Band and Fast and Tokyo Drift. Fast Five did it, and Fast Six, and then Seven didn't have that. Fate and the Furious didn't have that. Hobbs and Shaw had it, but in a very comedic way, and then F9 had that with Jay Statham. So this is like the fifth or sixth time. I don't know this. So we have another post credit scene and got reintroduced to Hobbs, which I like. Were you surprised that Hobbs was coming back? I was kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was surprised that he was coming back. I thought The Rock was pretty clear he wasn't coming back for those theories, but now that I think about it, I think he only said that to keep his cameo a secret, so it wouldn't get spoiled.
Hmm, that's interesting. I thought the feud was real, and I think he just came back because of what happened to Black Adam. So it's just like it's just a business move. He's going back to a well that
Smart
was
business move on his part.
yeah. So I feel like that's what happened here. But it's cool. He got his goatee back, which was great because that was a weird thing. I totally forgot in Hobbs and Shaw he doesn't have a goatee like he has in his Fast and Furious appearance, which is weird. But yeah. So in any case, I think Fast 10 was a great film. We saw it twice, so that means something. It's doing well in the box office, which is good. Hopefully it breaks even with the huge budget this has. But yeah, so how, I don't know if you've seen the other films, but how you rank this film in the Fast and Furious films?
I would say this film is second, and Furious 7 is number one.
Wow, really? Well,
Yeah.
wow, that's really cool. Uh, okay, so currently I did a soon I'm gonna post the Fast and Furious film rank I did with Will. I put Fast 10 at 6 after it's below Fate of the Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, and my number 3 was Fast 6, 2 Furious 7, and number 1 is Fast 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I thought this was better than F9.
I didn't like
I
Fast 6 that much.
hmm?
I didn't like Fast 6 that much. I mean, I saw it once and I was like, it was like, yeah, I'm not watching that again.
Wow. Huh. I think will put Fast 6 low. I don't I try to remember. I think it was at 7 or something like that, or 8 something like that. Yeah. You're not alone in that. Which I'm surprised.
Right,
I
because
yeah, I'm
it's like
surprised.
something Dungeons and Dragons. Right?
Hmm. Right. So but yeah, I thought this was much better than F9, which is currently at my number 10 as my least favorite of the Fast and Furious movies. Um, But yeah, so I thought this was a much better Fast and Furious movie, but it's still not the greatest of the five films I brought up, but it's still good. So I highly recommend watching it. So it's a joy in the theaters, you know. And it's not too long like F9, which is good. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
but this
so
one was pretty long.
yeah, I mean a lot of the Fast movies are long since Fast
Yeah.
Five. So yeah, I mean it's a couple of minutes shorter than F9 because F9 was like 148 minutes. This one is 141 minutes, which is good. So yeah. So it's you know it's long, but it's decent enough. So which is good. Okay. What else that we need to bring up? Yeah. I think that's really it. Any more to say, Chris? With Fast 10, are you good?
Uh, yeah, I'm good. You know, I just think the Jason Momoa was the highlight of the film.
Hmm.
Everything else I pretty much, expected, and definitely Gal Gadot and The Rock's, cameo appearances were a nice surprise. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish there would have been more dialogue with Han and Deckard Deckard Shaw and their
Yeah.
like brief. And I wish their fight scene had lasted longer. But other than that, I liked the film.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I liked the film. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I wish that the storylines were completed and like give us a great position for the next film. You know, despite that, I thought this was a better film over nine. I thought it was more humor. It had more, like, you know, more the Fast and Furious feel compared to the other films, which is good. Um, but it's still flawed. But I think it's a better summer blockbuster than some of the other films we got in this year. So I think it's a good fun time in the theaters, which is good. So, and
Yeah.
speaking, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go
Oh, no, no, no.
ahead. Okay. Well, Chris. So next week, next Friday is Fire and so I am very excited for that. And
Me
you
too.
know,
Me too. I can't wait.
yeah. So I was thinking, so next week we should do a spoiler cast on Spider-Verse in the Andreas Pop Culture Talk. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, okay, and at the same time, we need to do the Superman movie to lead up to Man of Steel. Okay,
All right.
so that's your assignment. So hopefully, me and Chris we're going to see Spider Verse on Sunday. You know, if you know our schedules are good for next week. So, but yeah, so I'm very excited. So our next podcast will be Spider Verse or Spider Verse with Superman the movie. Hopefully, if not, Spider Verse is still good. I mean, that's great. I mean, I love the first one, so I'm very excited for that. So, but anyway, so thanks, Chris, for joining me today. This was really fun to discuss Fast 10, which is was a crazy film, but it was fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. Thank you, my man. And glad we had this discussion. And can't wait for Spider Verse. And I hopefully, and then I'm expecting this one to end on a cliffhanger as well, since the next one will be out next year.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
definitely expecting it to be full of a lot of teases for the next one and whatever may happens, down the line after the next one. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. But yeah, yeah, crazy time. So we're already into June, and we're gonna get a lot of movies soon in June. I mean, only Spider Verse, Transformers, Flash is coming very soon. And yeah, so many more. But anyway, so thank you everyone for listening to this podcast on Andreas Pop Culture Talk on Fast 10. So me and Chris will be back soon. But anyway, have a good final May today or this week. And soon we're gonna be in June. So have a good week, everyone. Bye.
All right. I'll see you later, Andre, and you tell your mom and your grandma I said hi, okay?
Yes, you too. Same here with your parents.
Thank you, thank you. All right, heading out, brother. I'll see you soon.